We continue to play games. We continue to find games that we like better than ones that we still like.
Yep.
We just like these new ones better. Hey folks, welcome back to the next installment of mine and JT's Top 100 Games of All Time 2024 edition. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
I had an influx of no less than 130 games into the games that I picked from, so you know there's a lot of movement there. Less movement on his, but still had movement. This is going to be our numbers 70 to 61, so we are just 20 games away from our top 50.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our number 70. My number 70 is a dice rolling game that is probably one of the loudest games I enjoy. I usually don't enjoy loud games.
Is that Farkle?
No.
Okay.
No. I actually like good games.
Oh.
This one came with plastic dice cups that you use to roll your dice in. And they are loud. And you do a lot of rolling. This one's called Dice Town. Dice Town is a really neat game where you're using that that mechanism where you can roll your dice, you can keep some of them, and you can roll them again and keep more. But here you're actually having to, you can always keep one die. But if you ever want to keep any derivative from one die, you have to pay a money for every die that every one away from one that you want to keep. So if you want to keep nothing and re-roll everything, you have to pay $1. If you want to keep 2, you have to pay $1. If you want to keep 3 of those dice, you have to pay $2. So forth and so on. So that's the difference. You can keep rolling as much as you can, but once one person says they're done, everybody gets one more roll.
Oh.
And what you're trying to do is you're trying to gain resources by having the most jacks, 10s, queens, or kings, or aces in your pool of dice. Or you're trying to get the best poker hand so you can do something else. And that's basically what you're trying to do. You're getting points from procuring lands and different kinds of resources, going to the general store. Some of those cards will give you a lot of points. Some of them will give you fewer points, but give you a special ability that you can use during the course of the game. And you're also trying to get gold. All of these things will generate points. By the end of the game, whoever has the most points is the winner. Really cool Western themed game. The artist, Pierrot Lalune, is my second favorite board game artist. And he does some great work. I like Vincent Dutrait better, but definitely Pierrot is a strong second.
Doorstep.
Strong second. So I really enjoy his work. He's a great guy too. But this is a great game. Dice Town, my number 70.
Nice. My number 70 has dice as well, although they're all character-specific dice because it is Marvel Dice Throne. This was my number 61 last year, so it's in the same block.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. My Dice Town was my number 39 last year.
Woohoo!
Yeah, it dropped a little bit.
All right.
I hate it now.
No. But Marvel Dice Throne is a great game. You take a character, you have some special abilities, some tokens. You have different abilities on your board. If you roll a straight or a flush or 3 of a kind or whatever else, you do different things to the other person. You also have defenses that go in that. And you have this cool little deck of cards that matches your character. That you can spend CP points on to either upgrade your abilities or, do random effects, not random effects, do effects during the game. Yep. But you're just trying to beat up the other superhero, or if you're just playing Dice Throne, the other character. This is a 2-player game only.
It isn't.
It would fall out of the top 100 if it wasn't. If it was anything but a 2-player game, it would fall out of the top 100 for sure.
I see a lot of people playing this with more than 2 players. I agree. I think it soars. It soars as a 2-player game.
It soars into the top 100.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair.
That's a good
pick.
But
anyways, that's my number 70.
Criminally low. Criminally low.
X-Men are coming soon.
Yes, that's going to be fun. I didn't get that, but I'm going to play his copy.
Yep.
My number 69 is a game we just got finished talking about in our our bottom 5, top 5 deck bag pool building games. And this one was my number 50 last year, so it has slipped a little bit, and I'm attributing that probably just to the lack of playing time that it's had at my table, but it's not because I dislike the game any less. This one's called Heat, Pedal to the Metal. It has slipped slightly, only 19 spots.
All the way down to
only
69.
19 spots. Come on. And but this is a great racing game. It has replaced Formula D as far as I'm concerned. Formula D I used to love because you got to push your luck rolling these different dice. With Heat, Pedal to the Metal, you're still pushing your luck, but it's by how much heat you're allowing into your engine and how fast you can get that heat out so that you don't ever run out of heat during the course of the game. And I like that push your luck mechanism a lot better than just what die am I going to roll.
Yeah, fair.
It's just more fun. I like both games, but Heat, Pedal to the Metal by far exceeds my liking of Formula D. But with that having been said, I think it is a good equivalent. Depends. Do you like the hand management that you're going to get with Heat? Yes. Or do you like the dice rolling that you're going to get with Formula D? It's really kind of the same thing. It's just two different mechanisms that handle the same kind of idea in both racing games. So you pick which one you like the best. For me, it's Heat, Pedal to the Metal by far. My number 69.
Wow, I can't believe it's that low.
No.
It's amazing.
That's not low.
It's not low, but it's not high. All right. My number 69 was my 56 last year, so it's fairly close to where it was before. This is a great game about dwarves with cool little pencil sketch art, or kind of pencil sketch art, and this is called Nidavellir. In Nidavellir, you have tokens, which you are using to bid on different dwarves and different taverns.
Coolest mechanism ever.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you have 5 of these bidding tokens. 3 of them you're going to use to bid in different taverns to collect dwarves for your army. There are warriors and hunters and all these different kinds of dwarves, and really they are whatever, purple and green and blue and orange and red in color. And each of those different colors you are set collecting, and they all score differently. Scoring this game without the app can be a little bit atrocious. But with the app, it's fantastic.
It's nigh impossible, but with the app, it's amazing.
But because every one of them scores differently, like the orange ones, they score per dwarf times a multiplier that's on different cards. You add up all the multipliers, you add up all your dwarfs, you multiply them, and there you get a number. But
and that's just one of them.
But the purples and greens, they use a track. One of them use a kind of like a incremental track, and the other one uses kind of a exponential track. So they have all of these different kinds of scoring mechanisms. But you are set collecting these dwarves, and once you create an entire row of dwarves, which is one of each different type, you get to pick up some special dwarf with a special ability or whatever else. It also has a really cool tiebreaker mechanism where you have these crystals. Everybody has these crystals around the board. And if Sam has a 4 crystal and I have a 2 crystal, when we have a tie, he wins, but then we swap crystals. So now I have the 4 crystal next, or whatever else. And if there's more people involved, they can it does some swapping in between.
It's a very balanced tiebreak system.
It's a very balanced tiebreak. So it's a very nice tiebreak system. And then the last thing is with your last 2 coins that you didn't use for bidding, you get to combine their value, get rid of one of them, the highest of the 2, and take the higher value. So if I put a 2 and a 3 down there that I don't bid with, now I have a 2 and a 5. And the 3 goes away. So you're continually increasing your bidding power, and all of these work really, really well.
Coolest mechanism of the game.
Really, really neat game. Mechanisms are awesome, and the game's super fun. So that's my number 69, Nidavellir.
Good pick. It is too low. My number 68 is a newcomer to the list, and this is another game that is Vincent Dutrait's artwork, so that is already 2 on this list, on this segment. This one is called Tribes of the Wind, however. This has got a really neat mechanism where you are placing out these different tiles on these different areas, and they represent you building up your civilization after the apocalypse has happened. And there's been a lot of pollution and all of this kind of stuff in the air, and you are trying to breathe fresh air back into nature, basically, by cleaning up all of the corruption and replacing it with very naturalistic, that type of stuff. It's got a lot of really neat mechanisms as far as how you can send these things out. It's got a what is it called? Not a area enclosure, but area coverage type thing, where you get more points the more tiles that you place out. You get extra points for covering up certain things that made more pollution. Pollution was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, pollution.
But it's got a lot of great things going on for it. It is not an overly complicated game either, but it has great table appeal, and it's got a really neat mechanism where you have your cards in front of you, but what your opponents can do are based on, and what you can do is based on the backs of your opponent's cards, and what they can do is based on the backs of your cards. It's a really neat mechanism.
Pretty cool.
It's a really cool thing, but I really enjoy this game. It's my number 68, Tribes of the Wind.
And while he's breathing out anti-pollution, I just breathe out hot air and CO2, but, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
All right, my number 68 is a new game to my list.
Well.
And it's a 2024 game, in fact. I think this is the third 2024 game I've had on here, including Wormspan, which replaced Wingspan.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is from Roxley Games, gorgeous game, and it is called Skyrise.
Oh,
I
man.
really like this game. I really like the mechanisms of this game, and it is beautiful as well. In Skyrise, you have islands, depending on the player count, depends on how many islands you have, but you have these islands in the air or on this cool map, and they're broken up into 4 different, I guess you could call districts. There's white districts or lots or whatever. There's white ones, green ones, brown ones, and another color. But you are trying to area control these. Again, I don't want to think too hard. My head might explode. But you're trying to area control these locations. But to do that, and you're also trying to pick up these chips that are on these locations to do that. But to do that, we all have, and you only start out with 12 buildings and 1 special building. But to do that, you are bidding on these areas. The trick is if I bid on this white area here, where I bid has to be next to a building that's already in existence or on the small center board. But if I bid on this white area here, say, if Sam wants to bid higher than me, he has to bid on one of the adjacent areas that don't already have a building. So he can't even bid on that area. So he might bid on a green area or whatever else, and then people will bid until nobody can bid over or won't bid over the highest bidder. And then they take their building and they flip it over and they pick up the tile on that area, and now that's their area. It's a really cool mechanism because not only are you placing to get what you want, you're placing sometimes to move people away from what they want. You might be placing there are so many different reasons to place in these spots and to bid or to not bid. You can close off an area.
That is the question.
That's right. You can close off an area so you get to bid next, and you get to start in a spot where nobody can bid next to you, and so you could get 2. I mean, there's just all these really cool things you can do. The other really neat mechanism is on your player board, as you collect these chips, say that I'm collecting the white chips because I'm trying to take over white regions. If I get 3 of those chips, those white regions are at their peak value for me. But if I get 2 or 1, they're not worth as much. But once I get a 4th chip, they're no longer worth as much either. So there's this balance of trying to get 3 chips or trying to shoot the moon and get a whole bunch of those chips, because that will work for you too and give you different abilities or different points. But you're trying to balance getting 3 of those and getting white areas. And there's also these cards that are on the board that are kind of community goals. And so you're all trying to do those goals too. You're trying to get 2 of your buildings next to a bridge or whatever else they say. So It's a really cool puzzle. I really like this game.
All right, my number 67 has slipped significantly.
84 spots.
Close. More like 52.
Wow.
From 15 last year. And this is one of the things that makes me scratch my head because I really do enjoy this game. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy other games better. But I really enjoy this game a lot. It is one of the games that I think is the most fun if you role play. If you don't role play, you're going to have a horrible time playing this game because it's just too random. One person who's playing the sheriff can totally mess you up randomly because they're like, I don't like the way you looked at the carpet last turn. Click. And now they're looking at your bags of goods. This is called the Sheriff of Nottingham. It was 15 last year. It is number 67 this year, but I love this game. It is such a great set collection game, and the fact that you get to role play while you're doing that is really what makes it, for me, so much fun. If you're not doing that, you're missing it. You're simply missing it. You've got to role play. You've got to lean into the theme in order to have fun. If you can't do that, I understand. Game's not for you. But
this is a very group-dependent game.
Yes,
very
absolutely group-dependent. You've got to lean into the theme. If you don't, it's not going to be that fun. Yep. Because it's generally just, can I bluff you or not? And, okay, I did, great. I built a better set of cards than somebody else did.
Yep.
That's it. But when you lean into the theme and the sheriff really kind of leans into that role of really scrutinizing, it's so much fun. Has so much fun with this game. My number 67, the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Nice. That's a good game.
Yes.
Group dependent, but good game.
Very much so.
All right. My number 67 is what I will call a spiritual crossover. This will be our second crossover because I need some crossovers to happen if I'm going to get to 17.
Crossover.
This is Azul Queen's Garden. Now, he already had Stained Glass of Sintra on there.
Okay.
This is as close as we're going to get when the Azul comes together. But I need
it's an IP crossover.
I need this crossover to get closer to my 17 because we're already like almost 40 games in.
You just have
I've got 2.
You just have to start liking lighter games, and we'll be fine.
Good luck. But in Azul Queen's Garden, this game is the fourth and the heaviest of the Azul games.
Yeah.
This one I like specifically in particular because in most Azuls you have your warehouse tiles are in a row and you can see everything that's out there. In this one it's not like that. You start with one specific tile stacked up or one specific card stacked up and it has some tiles on it. Once tiles come off of that, then it gets moved over and the next one gets populated. And so the next one doesn't get populated until tiles come off of that center one. So there's always this exploration, and it kind of gives you that feel of, do I want to open up a new tile for you and put more stuff out there for you to pick from?
Yeah. Or
do I want to go a little bit lighter and take something else so that you have to do that for me? So there's a nice thought process in the drafting phase. And then your personal board starts out quite small. It's only they're basically like this flower-sized board with 6 circles around it. That's what you start with. You start with a centerpiece and 6 spots to place on. And you have to draft tiles as well to build out this garden as you go. There's just a lot of cool things. It's got a lot of DNA from the other Azuls brought into it. It's got those central pieces that give you bonus tiles from the third one. It's got these different things that go on.
Yep.
It is more thinky than the other ones.
Sure.
But at the same time, I feel a bit more rewarding too. So
cool.
I really love Azul Queen Garden. That is my number 67.
It's a good pick. Stained Glass and Sintra is better.
Nah.
All right, my number 66 is a newcomer to the list. This actually pushed its predecessor off the list. So this is called Lords of Ragnarok. Now,
Nice.
I loved Lords of Hellas, really enjoy it, but that was Greek mythology. Lords of Ragnarok is Norse mythology.
Oh my goodness.
I like Norse mythology better. That's the long and the short of it. And the production value of Lords of Ragnarok is off the chain, just like it was with Lords of Hellas.
Yep.
They really poured the same amount of love into both of those games, but I just really enjoy this one better because of the subject matter. I really enjoy the area control mechanism. I love the different feel that all of the different factions, I guess you could say, the different player powers that are involved in the game. All of these things really push me towards liking this game better than Lords of Hellas. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think that Lords of Ragnarok is a better game, although I think that they did do a lot of streamlining and so forth in Lords of Hellas, or rather from Lords of Hellas. So I think it probably could be considered a better game, but I just like it better because I like the context, the theme,
Fair.
the mythology that it covers. So that's my number 66, Lords of Ragnarok from Awakened Realms.
I don't know what I did with the bottom half of my list, but I believe this is a crossover.
It
I
is?
think I already had it.
Maybe you did. I think you did.
I think I already had it.
I'm pretty sure you did. Yes.
I don't know what I did with that section of my list, but that's what I was looking for.
You've already said it, so it's done.
But I think that is a crossover, so that's fantastic.
There you go. I'm helping
That's
you out.
number 3.
That's it's 2 3/4.
No, I'm getting there. 3 for sure. All right. Working on 17.
Yep.
All right. My number 66 probably will not be a crossover, but that's okay. Sam can like bad games, or I can like good games, whatever. It doesn't. I'm joking. This was my 74 last year.
Ooh, it rose.
And it rose because I have played it a couple of times since our last list. I really like this game, and every time I pull it out, it just pops. It really makes a statement when you play it. And this is Coimbra.
Oh.
In Coimbra, you are doing some pretty cool things. You are basically trying to collect these characters, and the characters will give you different abilities, but they'll also push you up tracks, which give you victory points, or let you have a pilgrim going around this central board that'll give you different bonuses when you hit towns and things like that. Or you can get new soldiers, or you can get more money. I mean, those are basically the tracks you're doing. But you're drafting dice. The color of dice you draft and the number of dice you draft matter. The first thing you do is you draft your dice. You put it in this little cool castle holder that holds your dice. It looks like a little palisade. Yeah. And you place it out there to bid on these different characters. And there's different bidding locations you bid on. The trick is when you bid a 5 in this location, if I bid a 5 and he bids a 3, then I get to buy one of those first. I can take whichever one I want, but I have to pay 5 for mine, and he has to pay 3 for his. So you might be bidding, you have to be able to pay for what you're bidding on, which is a very interesting dynamic, because if I put a 1 there, I can let them go and just take whatever's left and get it for super cheap, you know. So that's really cool. So you get these cards, which raise your tracks. But then the color of the dice is the dice that you bid. Once this stuff's done, they come over here, and whatever color dice you got, that's the track you fire off. So if I want more money, I need to make sure I'm drafting a dice that matches the money track so that I can gain more money. Or if I want victory points, or if I want my guy to move, you have to draft the dice for the color for your tracks to fire. But you're drafting them for the number so that you can.
It's like the guilds and Forges of Ravenshire.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and it just works so well.
Yep.
I really like Coimbra. The other cool thing is, at the end of the round, there's only 4 rounds, but at the end of the round, you have the option to buy a journey card, or to buy your way onto a journey card, which means that you are buying your own end game scoring deal. Like,
that's cool.
If I want this to be my end game scoring, this journey card, then I have to buy my way into it to get that scoring. So it's really cool.
And is it
that
only
way.
you can do that, or can
No,
anybody?
I think.
Are you
I'm
purchasing
trying
that
to
for
remember-
everybody?
honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think you're purchasing it for you. No, you're purchasing it for you.
Okay.
And if you want to purchase in on it, you can purchase in on it too.
Okay, so it's slightly different than Keltay, where you're like opening up.
Yeah, you're not
bidding
opening it for everybody.
For everybody.
No, you're not. So you really have to, and you only have 4 opportunities to go down there to buy them as well.
Got it.
So you need the resources for that. So
Yep.
and they're pretty expensive. So Coimbra, my number 66, really good game. I really like this.
Very cool. My number 65 is a classic, and I'm actually probably landing on a re-implementation of this game to be the placeholder for it. But my number 65 was at 19 last year. This one is called, however, King of Tokyo. And we're going to go with the Dark Edition to hold the placeholder here because that is the one that I currently enjoy playing the most. Now, I like the versatility, the number of characters, all of that kind, which can be used with Dark Edition.
Yep.
It's not like they don't have any restrictions or anything like that, but if you don't have the Dark Edition, King of Tokyo is just fine, don't get me wrong. I just currently like Dark Edition a little bit more than King of Tokyo. I also have really enjoyed King of Monster Island, the cooperative version of King of Tokyo, and
It's quite cool.
I can't remember, but I think I might have bought Duel.
Really?
Yeah, just to see what it's like.
Oh, how would you not know you bought Duel? Didn't it just come out?
Yeah, it did. But I just
brought a pile of games
No,
home?
no, no, no. I bought 3 games, and I can't remember because I was waffling on it. Waffling on it. I don't know if I added it or if I didn't. I can't remember how I ended up. But anyway, King of Tokyo is a great game. It's just simply about you and everybody else at the table battling it out. You're either trying to get the first to get 20 points, or you're trying to be the last monster standing. And you're doing that by rolling dice, Yahtzee style, where you get 3 rolls, and you get to keep dice however you want. And you get, the numbers will give you points. There are claws, there are hearts, there are lightning bolts for getting more energy. You can use energy to purchase upgrade cards that will give you a special ability that nobody else can do. It's just a lot of dice rolling, dice chucking fun, and that's the long and the short of it. There are a lot of people that say, do not try to win by points. There are a lot of people that say, winning by points should be the way you try to, and we're like,
They
who cares?
say that? I've never heard
Tom absolutely says that he will always try to win by knocking everybody out.
Sure.
He will never try to just win by points.
But he doesn't tell other people you can only do that.
Truth. He does tongue in cheek.
What he should do is tell everybody, you guys have to try to get many points as possible. Points are very important. Keep that 111.
The rules teacher has the power. Oh, did I not tell you could win by just killing everybody?
By killing everybody.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave that huge gaping hole in my rules interpretation. It's a great game. Definitely an evergreen in my opinion. I just like Dark Edition better.
10-4. Well, my number 65 is from Mr. Uwe Rosenberg.
Uwe.
It's an old timer called Agricola. I love Agricola. What's better than starting a game with you and your loved one in your little farmhouse, just the 2 of you, and you have to build a farm and a life for yourself. You build pastures, you farm them, you make pumpkins, you get wheat, you grab a couple cows, let them breed, make sure you put them in a pen.
Oh, I know.
And fill out your farm.
Reading a technical manual.
No. No.
Oh, wait. You read enough in this game to feel like you're reading a tech manual. So
he doesn't know what he's talking about. But this game's a great game. It's very thinky. It's very cool. The central board is made up of cards that are different actions. So they come out in phases, but within the phase, you don't know which actions are going to come out each round. So you have to kind of work around that as you do. You do have your player board, and it's filled with a bunch of empty plots, which you either have to put buildings in or have to put, farms or pens or something like that in. You actually get, and this is one thing that people don't love, but I love for this reason. If you don't fill out your board, you get negative points at the end. for not utilizing your farm space, because then you're just being wasteful. Let's just say it. You're being wasteful. So put the boars in there, put the sheep in there, get a couple cows, and a couple of little kids.
A lot of games do this, but this is the first one that I realized that I really don't like it. It makes you do a little bit of everything.
This one does make you do a little bit of everything.
It's like the game is saying, here, hold my pocket, do what I tell you to do.
If you want to be better than the Joneses, then you got to do something of everything. If they have 2 sheep and you don't have a sheep, you can't be better than them.
I don't want to keep up with the Joneses.
Fair. My number 65 is Agricola.
All right, my number 64 is strangely enough, a newcomer to the list.
Oh, wow. I knew that
and
was coming.
the only thing I can think of is that this was probably in my one, because I know I ranked all the way up to 150, or no, 120 last year. So this was in my 100 to 120 last year. That's what I'm almost positive of, because I've liked this game for a very long time. And for it to have slipped off my 100 and now it's coming back on is strange, because I haven't played it since. But he's talked about it a lot. Which may have resurrected some of those feelings of, wow, that is a really good game.
Possible.
Raiders of the North Sea.
Gosh, I love it.
Really enjoy this game. It's so fun. I'm a sucker for Viking themed games anyway. Now it's a little bit more of the Euro-y version of Viking board games that I like, but that's okay. I don't necessarily mind that. I don't draw lines that way any longer. I just really enjoy this. I got to play it some more. I can't really talk intelligently about it right now. I do know that I love the game. I like the game. I just can't remember many details about it right now.
So, it might be a crossover
there
someday.
You are. It will be. I'm almost positive. If I have a Garfield game on my list, it's going to be a crossover, period. End of discussion.
No. Challenge accepted.
That's my number 64, Raiders of the North Sea.
All right. Well, my number 64, let me do a little bit of... Okay, my number 64 is a Garfield game. I didn't have to move anything around, though. And we just talked about this in our last video, actually.
Nope.
But this is Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
Yeah.
I really like Viscounts of the West Kingdom. It is kind of in the West Kingdom series. In a lot of his games, actually, it's probably one of the most different, although his stuff is very different anyways. But in Viscounts, it's a rondel board, and you have your own personal player board. You're collecting cards. You're creating a deck of townsfolk, and these townsfolk have different symbols on them of things that they're good at. They might have gold symbols or hammer symbols if they're builders, or they might have a manuscript symbol, or it's a cross is the symbol, but you can create manuscripts as you move around. You are the Viscount. Your little meeple's a guy on a horse. You're roaming around this realm, this countryside, and you're building buildings with your townsfolk. You're sending your people to the castle so that they can help in the castle. And there's kind of this
Tiered
King
level?
of the Hill tiered thing going on in the castle, which is really cool. You're collecting these manuscripts as a set collection type of game, and you're buying all different kinds of stone and ink and gold so that you can accomplish these things as you do. But your player board is upgradable as you go, but you have this really cool deck system where as you play down your townsfolk, you play one per round, one per turn, and they go down this river basically, and which 3 townsfolk you have in the river kind of determines what abilities you're good at, if you're good at building right now or if you're good at buying or whatever else. So every round, one of them is going to come off, and the 2 are going to slide down, and another one's going to come in. And they all have special abilities that are either ongoing abilities or one-time use abilities, or some of them have abilities when they come off, something really cool happens.
Yep.
It's a really cool game. It flows very nicely. The turns are fast and impactful at the same time. So I really like Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
It's good.
And that is my number 64.
Well done, sir. My number 63 was the numerical opposite I don't know if there's are those called palindromes?
Yeah, something like that.
It's the same number but just backwards.
Yeah, my 64 was 45, so it was pretty close.
Yeah, my number 63 was 36 last year. And this one is called Rum and Bones. And we'll go ahead and say second tied because that's the one that you can readily get right now. But that's the picture that will be up here is Rum and Bones second tied. It is a great little, what do you call that when you have dudes that move on their own programmed...
Like a MOBA.
MOBA, that's correct. Great MOBA style game. The crews of the ships are going to be moving on their own little tracks. And they auto move. There's nothing you can really do about that. Like the captain, the not the deckhands, but the second, the first mate, those are the people that you're actually controlling. You have, I think, 4 different characters that you're controlling on your side of the deck, and you're basically trying to knock out the other person's ship as quickly as possible because they're trying to do the very same thing to you. Cool thing about this game is that it is basically a 2-player only game. You can play it 4-player where each person controls 2 heroes each.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Don't like it.
Don't do
Definitely a 2-player game only in my opinion, but the rules allow you to play up to 4, I believe. So it's really fun. Each of the 4 different characters, and you can kind of mix and match the different kinds of characters that are on your ship. They all have different abilities. They all have power-ups or upgrade cards that you can put into their list of things that they're able to do, and that's what really kind of differentiates variable player powers hits off the charts on this one. Really enjoy it, and the fact that they have a specific set called the Hammers of Ragnarok really pushes it up in my opinion. But nothing like playing a crew full of Vikings in a pirate game. Love it. So that is my number 63, was 36 last year, but the amount of times I've been able to get it to the table, it's making it diminish, but I doubt it's ever going to slip off my list. That's it.
Right on. My number 63 is new to my list. Although I owned it last year prior to our list, I had not played it yet at that point in time. It's one of those games when you buy it, you know you're going to love it before you ever touch it. And I was right. So this is from Druid City Games called Wonderland's War. Just talked about this one not too long ago as well. But in Wonderland's War, the game comes in 2 phases. One of the phases is you're going around the Mad Hatter's table, picking up cards, and as you pick up cards, they're going to put chips into your bag. This is a bag builder where you're collecting forge chips. You have your own faction chips in there. You're going to be putting allied chips in there and tool chips in there and all of these different things that give different abilities. And then once you're done with that phase of going around the table, you're going to each get a madness chip, or if you're unlucky enough, you're going to get a couple of madness chips in there, which are never good. But this is Wonderland after all. And then you're going to go do some area control battling in all of these different areas. And to battle the area control, you're going to do what you'd imagine. And you can build castles and stuff out there, which will give you a couple of points. You can put your main character out there, which will give you a couple of points. But you're going to have this track of strength, basically. And you're all going to reach in. You're going to pull out a chip, and when everybody's ready, you're going to open your hand. Now, if somebody opens their hand and they don't have anything in it, they're out of the round. But you're going to pull out your hand. You're going to take that chip and put it in your line. If it has a special ability, you'll do it. If it's a madness chip, you have to take one of your, because you have people in those areas, supporters. So you have to take one of your supporters out. So you actually start losing supporters as you're pulling madness chips. So you may be like, I pulled my first magnet chip. I only got one guy left there. I might want to stop because I might want to keep him there for some reason, you know. There are objective cards that have different things on them. So, or you might just move up the strength track 1 or 2 points. And then there's this cool, you have your own personal player board. And if you end on a forge spot on the strength track, you get to forge one of the chips you just used, onto your personal player board, which will give you some kind of benefit. So you can upgrade your strength. You can upgrade if you get to the end of the row, you get to put in a 3 chip that's your faction chip. There's just all these cool things that are going on. You're trying to manage your madness. You're trying to figure out, if I fight really hard in these first 2 areas, I'm going to lose in the last 3 areas. Yeah. So it's just a really cool balancing act. That is my number 63, Wonderland's War. Super fun, super pretty.
Very cool.
I love the art.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good one. Druid City Games puts out very nicely produced games.
Yep.
Well done. All right, my number 62 is a game that I've only played once. But I really enjoyed it that much. It's from Orange Nebula. It's called Unsettled.
And I thought you were going to say Vindication.
No, absolutely not. This is a newcomer to the list, but again, I've only played it once, but I was... I don't want to overstate it and say enamored, but I really enjoyed the experience. Yep. It was very fun. I loved... One of the coolest things about the game for me was the infusion of humor into how they wrote everything.
Yep.
The names they gave stuff would be the names that I think people that are seeing these things for the first time would give it, like, you know, the Boingy Forest or this Spike Forest or whatever, and what they do. Oh, it's so fun. You're basically, correct me if I'm wrong, you're basically trying to explore the planet to find your way off of the planet. Is that correct?
Basically, yeah. Before you die. Yeah.
And the game comes with, I don't know how many, but a number of different planets, and they're all basically different kinds of scenarios.
Yeah, I think I have 9 planets. There are 2 new ones that are already out. I think there's 11 planets out now, and there's more coming out.
There's more coming out later on. Yeah, I do know that.
And each planet has 3 or 4 scenarios.
Yes. Such a fun game.
Yeah.
And not just because of the mechanisms, it's also fun because of all of the stuff that you read and the humor that's in that stuff that you read. Love this game a lot. Again, I've only played it once, but I am sure, I'm confident if I played this more, it would definitely rise.
Yeah.
Just a fun game. That's my number 62, Unsettled.
That's a good pick. It's a good pick. Okay, 62, my 62 was 48 last year. Don't tell my wife, although she's going to watch this video. She knows it's going to be here. And I'm sorry, honey.
Oh.
But still in the top 100. My number 62 is a game that her and I love to play, and will always love to play, and this is Roll for the Galaxy. In Roll for the Galaxy, you start out with a planet and your home... Not your federation, I can't think, in your own little faction board. And your goal really is to get 12 tiles or a specific amount of points, or the victory point stack runs out before somebody gets the 12 tiles. But in this game, you have a bunch of dice, and they simulate workers, I guess, if you want to call it that. And you're going to roll your dice. They're all different colors. They have different faces. And then you have multiple phases that you can populate with these dice. You can have them for scouting. You can have them for building planets, for building technologies, for producing resources on your planets, or for shipping those resources off your planet so you can get victory points or money. But you're going to roll your dice. You're going to spread them out in the phases of the faces they roll. And then one of those dice you can place anywhere, and you can take it from anyone you want, but you can place it up, and that's basically the action you're choosing. So now you know that action is going to fire, and any dice that you have there are going to be able to do the action. Yeah. And then depending on what everybody else does on the board, what action they fire, those dice that you have in different places may fire also.
Sure.
So it's this really cool balancing act, because every time they fire, they go back in your citizenry, and you only get so many back depending on how much money you have. So you're trying to keep a good volume of dice in your cup so you can keep rolling. And it's just this really cool puzzle. Yeah. And it really is a race to get 12 tiles first.
Yep.
So we really love Roll for the Galaxy.
That's a good one.
Get the first expansion. It comes with the leader dice. Gives you a little bit of wild kind of dice.
I don't think I've ever played with that.
And a dice that can be reused after it activates, which is really cool.
I know I haven't played with that.
Don't play with the second expansion because it ruins the leader expansion and just muddles it up. So
nothing quite like cannibalizing your own product.
Yeah, the second one, just not worth it.
Not worth it. There you go.
But
You heard
anyways,
it. You heard it here first, folks.
My number 62, Roll for the Galaxy. Great game. I love it to death.
Well done, sir. All right, last one for this segment. My number 61 is another newcomer to the list, and I really enjoy tile placement games, and I really enjoy city building games. And this one got both of those, but it's slightly different because of the kinds of shapes that it employs. This one is from Mr. Uwe Rosenberg, and it is called Tangram City. Absolutely did. I love the simplicity of this game. Now, the simplicity of the game comes in the rules, but how you do well in the game comes through experience. That is the long and the short of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, and partially is because of the shapes that you're dealing with and how you can get them. Because when you look at the shape, it doesn't quite fit on the board the way your mind thinks it does. So you have to kind of look at it sideways and turn it a few ways until, oh, okay, now I see how I'm supposed to put it on there. Because of how it's dealing with so many different triangles and all of that kind of stuff. It's just the shapes. The cool thing about the tile placement, though, is that you're also trying to balance your city between nature and industry. Yep. And that balance as well is going to give you a considerable amount of points if you do well at it. So it's just a really neat thing. Another cool mechanism is you're going to be able to see, it does have that kind of bingo mechanism where you're going to flip over a card and that's what everybody is going to add. Yep. But some of the cards that are flipped over, there's one always flipped over in the middle, and then there are, depending on how many players there are, there's one in between these two people, and there's one in between these two people over here, and they can both look at those cards, and everybody can see what's in the middle. So you have 2/3 of the information, and that allows you to kind of plan how you're going to place your tiles on your city because you know some of what tiles are going to come out, and that's a really cool thing as well. You don't know everything that's going to happen, but you know most. So I really enjoy that a lot. This one was a thing that I first saw it, and I was like, that looks like I think I'll like it. Kind of like what you were saying earlier, where you buy a game and you know you're kind of like it. I was kind of pretty sure I was going to like it. Turns out I really loved it.
Nice.
So that's my number 61, Tangram City.
Nice. My number 61 has fallen just a little bit from 49.
Woot!
And this one specifically because it's a little harder for me to get to the table with my game mates.
What? I will play anything.
Some of them don't like to play Ark Nova as much as I do. Ark Nova is a really cool game where you're trying to create a zoo. You're creating the enclosures, and then you're placing animals in those enclosures. You
might get Matt Damon to play with you.
Matt Damon?
Yeah.
The actor?
Yeah.
Okay.
He made a movie called The Zoo where he was building.
Oh, yeah.
Zoo. Yeah.
I'm going to give him a call and see if he'll come play.
You helped it fall flat. Thank you.
No, I'm going to give him a call now. Sam said you're going to play, sir. He's famous, right?
So you got him on speed dial.
But
hey, if he says yes, we're recording it. So keep your ears to the ground.
Matt, if you're listening, I'd love to play Ark Nova with you, brother.
Not even close to listening. Not even close.
But Ark Nova, you're building a zoo. Has a really cool action selection system, which it's quite famous for now, I think. Where you have 5 cards and they're... Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's Matt. He heard.
Matt just called me. You have 5 cards and they're in ascending order strength-wise. So one at this end is only 1 strength. The one at this end is 5 strength. But no matter which card you use, if I use the one that's in the 4 strength spot, I'm going to use the card, I'm going to do the action, and then it's going to slide to the bottom, and it's going to be the weakest, and everything else is going to slide up. So your timing on how you're using the cards to get the most benefit out of them is quite important. Sometimes it doesn't matter. You're just like, I really, really, really need to use my 2 right now, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to use it. Not you're sorry, but but those cards are you can get animal cards. Obviously, you can build enclosures. You have a little bit of worker placement in here where you have these little associates that will go to a different board to give you benefits or to go to the conservation projects.
Conservatories.
You can use sponsors, which really are your tableau building and giving you abilities and doing special things for you that way. Or I can't think of what the fifth one is right now. I already said putting animals in, didn't I? I probably didn't.
I mean, it's a zoo. That kind of goes without saying, right?
Oh, yeah, you're getting cards, but your other one is actually placing animals in your zoo. But it's a very cool system overall. It's a big, meaty game. It takes a long time. It's easy for this to be a 3-hour game. And it's got that track where you are managing your... What?
This is what I don't like about it.
You're managing your prestige, not your prestige. You're managing your conservation effort, and you're managing your ticket sales or the attractiveness of your zoo. And when those two things cross, that's what triggers the end of the game. And then whoever crosses the most basically wins. So he doesn't like that track system.
I don't like that
in any game. But
because you work for 3 hours and then you score. You got
points.
You got negative 2.
6 points. There
you got
go.
negative 2.
It's possible.
Yay!
But anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the base to 100. You get 100 points for finishing the game.
Yeah.
Plus or minus your deal there.
No, because then I'll still get negative
98 points.
Then I'll still get negative 2.
So, anyways, that's the last game on this list. Hope you enjoyed
on this segment.
On this segment, my number 61, Ark Nova.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, we are going to continue next week. We'll be hitting the last segment before we hit our top 50.
Nice.
Numbers 60 to 51. So that's coming up next week. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you can see when that new stuff comes out. Let us know in the comments what we're forgetting so far. But until then, we'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Matt, you don't have to put your phone number in the comments. We'll figure that out.
I'm going to hold my breath until he shows up.
We'll see you later.